Hey, we're back again with continuing coverage of our lesson, monomials and factoring. In our previous lesson, we talked about what is a monomial, what does it mean when we say factoring, what is a prime number, and what is a composite number. If you missed that lesson, I'll get back into it and let's get started here again. So we said a monomial is basically a simple single expression, say like x to the fourth. A monomial is a building block for a polynomial, which you'll see later in algebra, say like x to the fourth plus x to the third plus x to the second, so on and so forth. That is what a monomial is. When I say factoring, we were talking about what number can you pull out of a number that's multiplied by in order to get that number. Say, for instance, 4. You can get 1 times 4, but with 4, you get 2 times 2. So the factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4. And then we went further and said, well, what are those numbers? A prime number is a number where it's a whole number that's greater than 1, where the only factor is 1 in itself. So say you take the number 2. The only factor of 2 is 1 in itself, 2. Same for 3. The only factor for 3 is 1 in itself, 3. 5 is also a prime number. 1 and 5 is itself. Anything outside of that is going to be considered a composite number. Say, for instance, 4 or 6. With 6, you have 3 times 2. So the factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6, if that makes sense. So in this lesson, we're going to take it a step further and we're going to factor completely a monomial expression. So let's get started. Okay, so let's look at our first problem. We have negative 12 a squared b to the third. Now, when I say factor completely, we're going to break out this number or this simple expression into multiple components. So as you can see, we're dealing with the exponents. In case you don't remember or you haven't seen this before, in order to get a number for exponents, say for instance, if I have a to the first times a to the second, that answer is a to the third. And all you do is when you're multiplying exponents, numbers with exponents, when you're multiplying numbers with exponents, you just add the exponents. So here we have 1 plus 2 is 3. If I had a to the second times a to the fourth, it would be a to the sixth. And remember, the number preceding the exponent has to be the same. In this instance, it's a. So if I had b to the third times b to the seventh, the answer would be b to the 10th. So I hope this helps you understand when you're multiplying exponents. So going back to our problem, negative 12 can pull out a negative 1. So we have negative 1. And then we also have 12, the number 12. Also in the previous lesson, I mentioned a factoring tree. So we're going to break up this number 12. So how can we break this up? Number 12 can be 2 times 6. And then how can we break up 6? That is also 3 times 2. So those are our prime numbers. And so now we've broken up the 12. So now, also remember, mention a squared. That is the same as a to the 1 times a to the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then same thing with b to the third. When you break that down, that's really b to the 1 times b to the 1 times b to the 1. If you add those exponents, 1 plus 1 plus 1, that gives you 3. So when we say factor completely, this expression would be negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 3 times a to the 1 or a times a to the 1 or a times b to the 1 or b times b to the 1 times b to the 1. That is your answer for negative 12a squared b to the third. This is how you factor it out completely. I used a factor tree to break down the 12. I pulled out the -1 and I broke down the exponents. So we'll go to our next problem. Okay, our next problem is 38r s squared to the t. So let's write that down. We have 38 r s squared t. So if I want to break this down, the number 38 down, we have 2 times 19, right? So there are no other numbers to break this down with. We can't break up the 19. 2 is our prime number. The only other way to break that down is 1 and 2. So we have that left. And then we have our r. We don't need to break that down. And then s squared is going to be the same as s to the 1 times s to the 1. Remember, adding exponents, that gives you your s to the 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then multiplied by t. So when we factor 38r s squared t completely, it's 2 times 19 times r times s times s times t. Remember, s to the 1 is the same thing as s. We could do that or just leave it as s. So let's go to our next problem. Okay, our next problem is -66 p q squared. In order for us to factor this completely, we'll pull out a -1, and then we have 66. We're going to break that up. We could say 6 times 11 is 11 is our prime number. We can't go any further between 11 and 1. So then when we take the 6, we could also do 2 times 3. So then we have our p, and then remember our q squared is just q times q, q to the 1 times q to the 1. Add exponents, you have q squared. So now, in order to factor this completely, we have -1 times 2 times 3 times 11 times p times q times q. And there you have it. I hope this helps. If this video helped you, send it to someone else, pass it along, and we'll see you in the next video.